Welcome to Face Islam, the program that deals with the subjects and topics facing Muslims everywhere. And in today's episode, I want to talk about Libaas or malabis, which is talking about clothing, the attire or garments that we wear. You may wonder, why would a religion deal with such a subject and make it such a big deal? But if you consider that there really is God and He created everything, He sustains everything, and He has a purpose behind everything, including us, then He should be able to give us instructions for everything and anything that we do, including our clothes. And let's consider that when we're born, we don't have any clothes at all. And there are those who would say, well, I think that it's appropriate to wear clothing whenever it serves a particular purpose, such as the inclemency of the weather. Suppose that it's cold, windy, rainy, maybe it's too hot, and clothing provides a particular shelter for you against these elements. So, and this way, we could agree that, keep you from getting cold or sick, why not? But we're created naked, so why wear clothes? And there are people today that don't wear clothes. They have nudist colonies where people go and they take off all their clothes and run around. And Islam is not in favor of that. As a matter of fact, it has to do with the subject a lot more than just being healthy or feeling good or looking good. It has to do with the subject of modesty. Because Allah has created us different, and He tells us in the Quran that He created us different so that we could recognize each other. And then there are certain differences which we keep private. And our private parts are to be covered at all times. We are to cover everything from the navel to the knees, men and women both, at all times. Except, of course, when you're going to take a bath, something like that. For the women, whenever they're going to be men present who are not their close relatives, then they're to cover their entire bodies, hair included, and cover their attraction and adornment, and not to show themselves off out of modesty. The shyness and the modesty that was once prevalent all around the world seems to be going out the window. We're not seeing it like we used to. People are not shy anymore. And some of it has to do with what we're doing right this minute, television. Television has invaded our homes for the last 60 or 70 years, bringing us images, pictures, and visions of people in all states that we can imagine. Some of it not too nice, some of it pretty immoral, and yet it's there, and it stays there, and progressively goes downhill with regard to modesty. And how do we deal with that in today's world? What can we do? What can we say about this? A lot of it comes from what people say, how you look at it. What's your particular point of view? Where are you coming from? Well, I want to come from it from the point of view of my Lord that created me in the first place. And if He's got something in His book about clothing, I want to know. And if He's got something with His messenger to us, which is Muhammad, peace be upon him, I want to know what it is. And it happened to me one time when I was giving a lecture that a woman professor entered the room and she pointed over to the Muslim sister. She says, I want to know, why are they dressed like that? I said, what? What? She said, why are they dressed like that? I said, is something wrong with the way they're dressed? Yeah, it's not logical. Oh. She's talking about the covering that the ladies had over their heads, covering up their hair, covering up their upper torsos, etc., with the garment called hijab. And I said to the lady, well, look, let me ask you, when you were born, what were you wearing? She said, what? I failed to see where that makes a connection. I said, no, what were you wearing? How were you dressed? She just stared at me, getting angry. I said, you were naked, nude, in the buff, and had no clothes, you were naked. Yes? Oh, she looked at me, wow, talk to me like that. I said, well, true. Oh. I said, so why are you dressed at all? She said, modesty. I said, that's exactly why they're dressed like this. Modesty. The difference is, instead of taking their opinion of what modesty is, they're taking the instruction from their Lord what modesty really is. Allah is telling us modesty for women is to cover themselves completely except this and this, the face and hands. This is what we know in Islam. For real modest people in front of Him, that's the way they dress. Now, if some Muslim women don't choose to do that, that's another subject. And if some men would like to know how they should dress, we have that as well. We're covering ourselves all the time, from navel to the knee, and when we go out, we make sure that we're covered properly. And when we do our salah, we cover our upper torso. And that is the proper dress, the libaas of the Muslim. And that's face Islam.